All right, to begin, let's start with the end. The conclusion here, I have said this since before, long before this ever broke out between her and Justin Baldoni, that we have to compartmentalize. Blake Lively is not a good person. So no matter what happens in this lawsuit, no matter who wins in the end, do not let it distract you from the fact that she has proven herself not to be a kind person.
Hollywood's golden girl Blake Lively just found herself in a legal whirlwind that's juicier than the latest Colleen Hoover plot twist. The actress, famous for her sparkly red carpet appearances and picture-perfect Insta feed, is now knee-deep in courtroom drama with none other than actor-director-producer Justin Baldoni. Feeling confused already? Don't worry. Your girl's here to spill the tea, hand you the receipt, and serve it all with a side of sarcastic sass. But before we go all in, let me pose a quick question. What if your favorite prim and proper star suddenly tried to ban her nemesis from spilling secrets about her? That's exactly the fiasco we're looking at today. Grab your popcorn, your comfy seat, and maybe a stress ball, because by the time we're done, you'll be hollering at the screen wondering how real life
could have chemistry with a rock. It could have been just a tree, and there would have been chemistry. And it'd be like, oh my God, the tree did so good with Blake.
That's a compliment, Blake. That is a...
She's that talented. So I take no credit for
directing myself. A lot of that had to do with the brilliance of Blake Lively. I don't think people realize how involved she was in this movie. She was extremely involved, and she really made the film better. And I was like, hey, and I just gave her a big hug, and I think I scared her.
Teaching Justin how to pull you in. I love this.
That shouldn't be happening, by the way.
Just put me in any clothes and give me any words and have me step in and transform. And I used to be very insecure about that. I used to feel like an imposter because I would watch actors who were just shapeshifters. They could do it in any circumstance.
Freaking dramatic. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe, because let's face it, I'm nothing without your support. Now back to the tea. First up, let's dish on that hush 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 order. It's no secret that some celebs would rather have everyone keep their lips zipped tighter than a kid's backpack on the first day of school, especially when messy details might leak out faster than your least reliable friend at a house party. In Blake Lively's world, rumor has it she's tried multiple times to slap a gag order on Justin Baldoni and his attorney, Brian Fredman. Now, for those not already living in legal land, a gag order is basically a fancy way of saying, shut your mouth or face the consequences. It's like telling your chatty coworker at the office holiday party that if they keep telling embarrassing stories, they're gonna regret it. Only, with actual legal repercussions. Why would Blake be so pressed to keep things hush-hush? Maybe she's got secrets she doesn't want seeing the light of day. Or maybe she's just used to controlling her public image so meticulously that any free-range chatter is, in her mind, a capital offense. In fairness, Ms. Lively has always been the picturesque star. Never too messy, never too mean.
I love romance, and I love it as an audience member, and I love it in my real life, and I just really believe in romance.
So seeing her name splashed across legal documents is definitely a switch up. But here's the kicker. These gag order attempts have been shot down more times than that friend who can't get a date on Tinder. Every time Lively's legal squad tries to clamp a muzzle on the other side, it seems the judge is like, nah, sis, not today. The real question, why does she keep trying? Either she's extremely determined or she's got something so scandalous under wraps that she'd do literally anything to keep it quiet. And if that's the case, well, buckle up, because the bombshell could blow soon enough. We're just getting warmed up, folks. Next on the docket, Lively and her legal cavalry apparently attempted to toss out the entire case like it was last night's leftover takeout. That's right. Dismissed, scrapped, done, finito. It's like if your favorite reality star decided to walk off the show mid-season because things got too real. From what we've gleaned, Lively's team marched into court basically saying, Your Honor, let's just call it quits. We don't want this drama. Let's pack up and go home. The big unanswered question? Why is she so desperate to avoid a fight if she's so convinced she's right? If you're 100% innocent, you'd think you'd want your day in court to proclaim it from the rooftops, right?
Unfortunately, regardless of how famous you are in Hollywood, you have no choice over which attorney deposes you or not. Blake Lively's learning the hard way that court is not Hollywood. I'm sorry, come again. You don't get to, this isn't a Colleen Hoover movie. You don't get to pick and choose who you have to work with and who you don't. Sorry, Blake, but your dragons don't work here.
Unless, of course, there's something behind the scenes that makes the battle a bigger risk than a quick, clean exit. Now, the judge, not being swayed by star power alone, took one look at that request and effectively said, "Try again, honey." The case hasn't magically disappeared. In fact, from all accounts, it's still sizzling on the stove, slowly cooking up more intrigue as each legal motion fails. It's the kind of unstoppable drama that belongs on a Gossip Girl episode. Except this time, real people's reputations are on the line. And guess what? We're all here for it. Think of it like a game of legal cat and mouse. Blake's playing an Uno reverse card, hoping to skip the entire showdown, while Justin Baldoni and his attorney keep dropping draw 4 bombs left and right. When the judge says, nope, not happening, you know we're in for one juicy ride. And speaking of rides, this roller coaster is about to climb higher because next up is the real main event, depositions. If hearing the word deposition makes you want to snooze, I promise you might want to think again. Because depositions in this case are the single biggest thorn in Blake Lively's side right now, and apparently she's just not having it. Picture this. You're an A-list star used to controlling interview questions and walking out if you don't like the vibe. Suddenly, you're told you have to sit down
A journal, as if I was Ryle, and the things that Ryle experienced in his life. And I had to create, as an example, the trauma that happened to him. I had to recreate that
under oath and answer whatever an attorney throws your way. It's like going on the world's worst talk show, with a host who's out for blood instead of ratings. Lively is doing everything in her power to dodge Brian Fredman's line of questioning, as if the mere thought of facing him in a legal showdown sends chills down her spine. But here's the tea. Depositions are a standard part of civil cases. If you're connected to the drama, even tangentially, you better be ready to pick up that mic and talk. And it doesn't matter how many blockbusters you've starred in, nobody gets special VIP treatment in a court of law. So why is she so adamant about skipping this mandatory session? Maybe she's worried the truth bombs could land harder than a meteor. Maybe our team is flailing, trying to keep her squeaky clean image intact. Or perhaps she believes her star status allows her to demand a specially curated Q&A session. Whatever the reason, it's about as plausible as trying to skip a final exam by telling the professor you just don't feel like taking it. Good with that. Still, you gotta give Lively credit perseverance. She's definitely not rolling over. More like that one friend who tries to get
and so people just know this behind the scenes. You should just know that she is a bit of a brat. Okay.
Last word in every argument, except the friend is also a Hollywood act with legal counsel. Will her tactics prevail? Or is this the beginning of a meltdown that'll overshadow any rom-com cameo she's ever done? Keep those eyes glued. The best is still to come. Now, let's put a spotlight on the man of the hour, Brian Fredman. If Baldoni is the leading actor in this story, Fredman is the formidable sidekick who's ready to go full throwdown in the courtroom.
Primarily, people don't like to work with Blake Lively. I can also tell you personally, back when I was an intern at Glamour magazine, working under an editor, she said the most difficult person that she has ever worked with and the rudest person that she had ever worked with was Blake.
He's been painted as the big bad wolf by Lively's camp, but if you believe the rumors, he's basically just doing his job, albeit with a little extra spice. Remember, Lively has specifically stated she doesn't want this guy anywhere near her during a deposition. Why? Because of statements he allegedly made about her, like that time he threatened to sue her into oblivion. Now, to be fair, that's quite the rhetorical flourish. If you're on the receiving end of that line, you might not be so eager to have your day with the person who uttered it. But let's be real, lawyers on opposing sides typically won't be exchanging friendly holiday cards. The bigger question is, what's Lively so scared of? If Fredman is just huffing and puffing, calling out big talk about legal Armageddon, does that automatically mean she can refuse to show up? Typically no. Because in the words of half the judges out there, that's not how this works, sweetie. Sorry, but we're not living in a storyline you can rewrite if you don't like the direction. Of course, Ms. Lively might argue that Fredman has a personal vendetta, making him biased or unfair. But again, in the eyes of the law, bias is something you challenge on record, not something you run from, especially if you want to maintain the image of innocence. The more she tries to wiggle out of it, the more people start asking, what does she really have to hide? And that is the million-dollar question that's got fans and haters on the edge of their seats, scrolling Twitter for the next big reveal. Let's take a quick detour to highlight just how star-studded this fiasco is, or at least how star-studded Lively's usual entourage can be. Typically, you hear Taylor Swift, and you think pop anthems, stadium tours, and unstoppable chart success. Then there's WME, a titan in the talent management world, capable of orchestrating entire PR campaigns that make or break careers. And Leslie Sloan?
My money is on Blake Lively being wrong.
What is happening?
Known for shaping the public images of big-name celebs faster than you can say Oscars after party. In the typical Hollywood universe, having these juggernauts on speed dial means you can pivot any scandal into some kind of positive spin, like turning an accidental album leak into a viral marketing campaign. Yet, here we are, with a judge who apparently doesn't give two hoots about who's in your corner. This is the real world, where depositions aren't just press interviews you cancel last minute with a well-placed, unforeseen scheduling conflict. This is also a moment we realize that mixing the worlds of celebrity glitz, the unyielding nature of the law makes for some serious comedic gold, if you're not the one on the receiving end. The unstoppable synergy of star power that once parted the red carpets for Ms. Lively might now be about as active as a broken umbrella in a torrential downpour, and you can bet fans and critics alike are munching on their popcorn, waiting to see how it all plays out. Also, if we step outside the snark zone for a second, the legal system is indeed a force of nature. You can try to motion your way out of depositions, or silence your opponents with gag orders, but once a court date is set, you either show up or risk one of those dreaded default judgments. And trust me, those are never good PR. Could you imagine the headlines if Blake Lively just decided to ghost her hearing? The tabloids would have a field day. So yeah, winter in this scenario might be the unstoppable cross-examination that Lively is hoping to avoid. Or maybe it's the potential meltdown of her carefully crafted, squeaky clean narrative. Either way, the storm's a-brewin'. You can smell thunder in the distance, you know the downpour be far behind. Let's just say any illusions of an easy exit are looking shakier Jenga tower in the final moves. So, to wrap up this
roller coaster of revelations, Blake Lively wants Justin Baldoni and his attorney to zip it.
Multiple times, she's tried. Multiple times, it's failed. She's also tried to wave the magic wand and make the whole lawsuit vanish, but the judge basically said, no, not this time. She's terrified of facing a Brian Fredman-fueled deposition, especially with the rumored sue her into oblivion vibe swirling. Taylor Swift, Colleen Hoover, Leslie Sloan, none of them can rewrite the script on this one. Winter is coming, folks, and it's looking colder than a negative 20-degree day in Antarctica. The big question is, will Blake Lively manage to pull off one last masterstroke of stardom to sidestep the legal landmines? Or is she on a fast track to a court date that'll lay it all bare for the world to see? Trust me, you'll want to stay tuned. And as we come to the end of this saga, for now, take a moment to let us know your thoughts in the comments. Are you on Team Blake, thinking she's just misunderstood and under attack? Or are you on Team Baldoni, rooting for him and attorney Brian Fredman to expose the real story? Drop your hottest takes below. And hey, if you love the drama, the sass, and all the spilled tea, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss a second of our hot off-the-press gossip. Until next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with T.